Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to jump right into it. We're doing the dialed Motion Sidewinder. Now when it comes to the dialed Motion Sidewinder, this is probably one of the most space-saving cable machines that you can add. Now I've done a review on the Anchor Pro, and the only problem with that one is it only goes up to 65 pounds for resistance. Now the dialed Motion Sidewinder is rated for up to 500 pounds, but you do have a loading pin on there, which you're going to have a really hard time getting 500 pounds on there unless you have something like the weighted out 45-pound plates. Now unfortunately I didn't do any B-roll when it came to the assembly of this unit, but I will tell you guys it is very easy. They have very clear instructions, so if you follow the instructions it will be relatively simple to install. You do not have to take apart your rack whatsoever. Everything basically gets bolted onto it or screwed onto it. Now the carriage does have UHMW inside of it, but once you slide the carriage on, you do have the option, because they include some shims for you guys, to remove some of the slack that you might have between the carriage and your upright. Now, once you remove some of the slack, you can put the cover on there. And now the biggest thing when it comes down to the dialed Motion Sidewinder and their ibex system for that matter is the cable retractor. Now this is the heart of dialed Motion. They wanted a very simple way to allow you to adjust your trolley up and down, and they didn't want to have a bunch of cables routed through and all that other fun stuff. So they created this patent pending cable retractor, which has up to 19 feet of cable inside of it. The flip of a switch, you can adjust the height of the carriage, because this cable retractor actually allows the cable to stay tensioned inside when you have it in the lock position. But if you hit the unlock position for the switch, this thing will allow it to be adjusted freely. So the cable will unwind out of there, and depending on whatever length you have, it will just freely unwind, and you can position your carriage to whatever height that you need, and then you can hit the lock button, and now it will lock in place. Now in order to use this, let's go ahead and combine all this together. You're going to want to remove anything that's heavy on your carabiner, because if you have anything heavy on there and you hit the unlock button, that heavy attachment is going to come crashing down to the ground and scare the living crap out of you and possibly even damage your attachment. So it's very important to remove anything heavy. And now you can go down there and you can sit there and hit the unlock button. So now you can adjust the trolley and pick the height that you want. Once you pick the height, then you can hit the lock button and you're ready to go. If you want to load weight on to the weight pin, again, remove whatever the heck is heavy on there because it will come crashing down. Disconnect the cable retractor from your pin, add the weight onto it, then hit the unlock switch, and then connect the cable retractor back to your weight pin and then hit lock. And now you're all set. You can do whatever exercise you want to do. You are limited when it comes to the range of motion when it comes to this, because the upper arm attaches to the top of your upright. So if you only have a shorter upright, like 84 inches, then this is going to limit the range of motion quite a bit. But if you have something like a 91-inch upright, then you're going to be pretty decent when it comes to the range of motion. But if you want to do something like lat pull downs, you're still going to have to sit your butt on the floor, because for me, I'm 5'11", and I have to sit on the floor. And in order for me to lock my feet in there, I just use my Bells of Steel seal row pad. Now obviously you'd want to use something that locks your feet down a little bit better than that, because this is kind of awkward to get into and out of. But they do have a dialed Motion roller foot plate that is going to be coming out that I pre-ordered. So you guys make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that piece of content. Now anyways, once you're done with this thing, it is very easy to store. All you have to do is take the weight off of the weight pin. And in my case, I kind of leave the weight pin on there if I really decide to. So I'll just remove the weight and then I'll leave it in the lock position, and then I'll just bring it all the way up to the point of where it locks, just so it's touching the upper arm. Now I would like to see a little bit of maybe like a little bit of a rubber padding or something in there, because I have plenty of times forgot that I had it locked and I grabbed it and I ended up smacking it into the top of the upper arm. But that is very small feedback. And then the other thing is there is a tolerance that they built into when it comes to the pin, the pop pin inside the carriage. So unfortunately, the pop pin is only a 1/2 inch in diameter. So if you have a 5/8 inch hole, you're gonna have some play when it comes down to that carriage moving up and down. Now you're not gonna feel it 100% right away, but depending on what height you have it adjusted for, you definitely might see that thing go up and down. So if you're listening to music, you're not gonna hear it, but if you don't have your music on, you're gonna hear a little dink, 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 dink. But it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, they built it in with the tolerance, and unfortunately they're trying to make this thing universal. So you don't have to sit there and buy this and buy that, and it's a lot easier to manufacture. I do want to point out that there is the possibility that you might have a little bit of swing when it comes to the loading pin. Now they did a very good job when it comes to the arm. Now, as long as you have the weight pin lined up in the center, there's not going to be much swinging at all unless you're really yanking on this thing and really trying to make this thing swing. I mean, I've gotten it to swing when I'm doing bicep curls and I'm kind of going fast. Then I've gotten it to swing, but for the most part, I usually don't see this thing swinging hardly at all. But if it does swing, what you want to do is you want to pull the cable, let it swing a little bit so it gets centered, and then put it down on the floor. And then do that a couple more times until it's completely centered and it doesn't have any sway, and then you can do your exercise again. Now guys, when it comes to the price, this is where everybody's gonna balk at it, unfortunately. This is a premium piece, this is a small business, and it does basically reflect in the price. And you're looking at $524 plus the shipping and handling and taxes. Unfortunately, Dialed Motion, like I said before, is a small business, so they do rely on the pre-order method. Now, when you pre-order something, you're giving them the funds that they need in order to go to the factory and basically buy the product that they need in order to sell it to you. This requires no money on their part because now they don't have to raise any funds, but unfortunately now you have to wait for your product to arrive to your home. Unfortunately, they only have so many times out of the year that you can pre-order. It's listed on their website. They do advertise it on their Instagram page, and you can sign up for email notifications. So if you're watching this video right now, chances are you're not going to be able to order this, but you will have to wait until the pre-order opens, and then you can go and place your order. All right guys, overall, what do I think of the Dialed Motion Sidewinder? Honestly, I think it's very good if you don't have a lot of space in your home gym. If you only have one upright and you want to be able to add a cable machine, this is the easiest way to do it, and you're not limited by the weight. All right guys, that has been my review for the Dialed Motion Sidewinder. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and drop me a comment. If you guys have not already, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys show some love and hit that like button. Otherwise, I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.